Well, thank you, Kiran, and thank you, Josh, as well for your. I know Josh from his days in the fast forward where I worked as well. Um, so to respond to Kiran and as well to Josh, I think that there's a lot of work that has been done, has been said already. But one of the things that we need to realize is that that work has to continue not just at the same pace, but has to continue at an accelerated pace. And in effect, I think we have slowed down somewhat in the last, maybe 10 years. Um, I'm happy to know that the government in this particular year, in this particular budget actually, I guess driven by the COVID-19 situation and the Road to Recovery Committee, has really put its foot forward to drive digital transformation within the government as a priority. I believe it's the 10th priority in the public sector investment program that's listed. It's number 10. It should be higher, but at least it's number 10. Um, my experience, though, has shown that even though it's listed there as a priority, number 10, there, as Kiran said, there's some money behind it. I believe in this year's budget, if you look at the figures, they've allocated a total of $41 million, I believe, to the initiative, and overall to ICT, it's about $239 million, which is not insubstantial, and it's out of the 4 point something billion-dollar program for development program. But we have to realize that it's not just about continuing in the way what we're doing. We cannot live or push forward at the same pace. So Kieran, has what I've learned, and in this country, Singapore is a good example. They've always run on stretch and stretch targets. So one thing I learned when I visited Singapore in the mid 2010s, I think, yes, was that they implemented an ICT plan like Trinidad and Tobago, but they completed their objectives early, and they didn't stop. They just continued doing more. They looked at what they had done already and said, okay, we can certainly do more. We've achieved it maybe 2 years early, so let's continue achieving. That's really laudable, and Singapore, on the rankings, you see they're number one, number two in almost all the rankings: ease of doing business, e-government, competitiveness, and so on. You get that sense that there's a level of urgency that they've applied to what they're doing, and there's a level of understanding that they cannot stand still. And I really think that's Trinidad and Tobago. We have a real opportunity here, based on what has happened before, to put that aside. There's been some learning, there have been missteps, there have been a lot of money spent. I know a lot of critics have spoken about the money that's been spent on technology before, and whether it's been wasted or whether it's been put to good use. But putting all of that aside, I think the time has come now, and there's no better time than now, to press ahead and to accelerate. We definitely need to take stock of what we've done, take the learning, and move forward with sort of a fresh approach to this. I like what Kieran said earlier, which is what I agree with, in having a real look at what everyone else is doing, meaning not just around the world, but certainly what your population is doing and what they're trying to achieve. Many of the consultations that were done, under Fast Forward and the other various plans, were good, and they were a snapshot of the population. But I think there could be a lot more done now, utilizing the technology that we have, 10 years later. We can do a lot more than what we did before, which is a lot of face-to-face interaction. Understanding what the small and micro enterprises are doing with the technology, how they are performing, how they're benefiting. On today's show, or tonight's show, we actually have a couple of those individuals who will speak to that. And I really think as a government of Trinidad and Tobago, they really do need to listen to the heartbeat of that sector and what they're trying to achieve and what they have done, and really respond to their needs. It may not be sufficient to simply say that you're putting a tax credit in place or you're establishing a fund. and not hear what they have to say about how that fund is to be accessed and how easy it is to access these funds or these tax credits. And certainly, on the other side of that, we also do want to ensure that we attract foreign investment. And by that, I mean investors coming into the country to, not rape or pillage, as people might want to say, but certainly to invest in the sector, create employment, create jobs, and earn foreign exchange on behalf of the country that we would be looking to do as well. Setting up a sort of a center of excellence approach. We keep hearing about the anchor tenant and building a community of practice around that. There's so many opportunities that we have that now is the time to really put that in place. Even if it's not physical, certainly we could do it virtually. And there are lots of opportunities, I think, for many local businesses, many international investors to look at what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago, understand where the government is putting its priority, and to really take full advantage of that. And I really want to be optimistic at this point. I know we can talk some more critical issues later on, but I think that's my initial contribution at this point in time, Kiran. Thank you.